Hi, my name's Philippe. I'm a co-founder and director at Candy Solar. I'm going to be speaking during the project overview session at the CNI Solar and Storage Summit on the 19th of November, highlighting the case of Ngwenya Lodge. What can South Africa's solar and storage sector teach the rest of the world? I think there's three key things that stand out to me. Number one, extremely fast adoption of these technologies is possible with the right catalysts. In South Africa's case, increasing electricity prices, load shedding, and tax incentives have all combined to accelerate these sectors in a way that I think has been seen in very few places before. The second point, which is linked to the first and perhaps the downside of the first, is that haste doesn't always equal speed. And unfortunately, not all solar and storage systems are created equal. And I think in this extreme acceleration, people have at times been over hasty to adopt and perhaps not adopt in the correct way. I think now that the market's maturing, people are becoming a bit more discerning in terms of how they buy and go with solar and storage. And the third thing that I think stands out is that innovation finds a way in these environments that are challenging. I think in the SA context, we've really seen new financing models come to the fore that have adapted to the needs and the opportunities and the challenges that exist to create financing structures that take advantage of storage combined with solar over long periods of times in ways where it optimizes for the tax incentives that are available in the market, and that comes through in products like performance-linked installment sales, which is something that Candy has brought to the market for the first time in South Africa. In terms of the challenges affecting solar and storage expansion throughout Africa, I think there are a handful of challenges that are quite material. I think the first really is the availability of finance to fund these technologies throughout the rest of the continent, and not just availability or willingness, but also the know-how to do that effectively. As we all know, with renewables, the cost of the technology is all upfront. So ultimately, your fuel for solar and storage, if you will, is really finance. And so this does represent quite a challenge to adoption throughout the continent. I think some of the other aspects that are a challenge is in certain places, artificially low or subsidized power prices. If you look at a place, Zambia, where load shedding is now becoming a real issue, part of what's holding back a South Africa type of scenario is the fact that electricity prices remain artificially low, which hampers the case for solar, despite the urgent need for storage there. I think the third thing is really an awareness and education of businesses across the continent, which obviously comes with time and is supported by the right kinds of catalysts, which don't necessarily exist to the same degree in all the markets out there. And then the final one is really let's say the boring stuff, the normal aspects of what makes expansion into Africa challenging. The fact that it's a highly fragmented landscape with very small market sizes in some respects, and added to that, so in many cases, an absence of policy, regulatory certainty, and all the other infrastructure-like aspects that go along with it in terms of supply chains, etc. There's no secret sauce on that one, or let's say anything particular to solar and storage about it, but it remains a challenge for adoption across the continent.